All right, I see the red live going. Wake up, Facebook. Here we are. Welcome, everybody, again to another travel talk
Hello.
with Northland Travel. Okay, Rhonda, big news here today, this morning.
Mhm.
We are supposedly supposed to get a big blizzard snowstorm yesterday or tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Have you, have you been to the grocery store?
Personally, no. Sorry.
Need to get milk, eggs, and bread.
I know. And I do have a grocery list going already, let me tell you. So maybe tonight I'll get in there quick.
Yeah, it's supposed to be freezing cold too, so.
Oh,
Might as well talk about traveling someplace else, right?
yes.
Good thing to
Yes.
do today. Welcome again, everybody. We're so glad you can join us the first and third Wednesdays of the month. We sure enjoy coming live to you on Facebook to talk to you about several trips that we have coming up here in the future. Rhonda and her team sure love planning trips, and here's our opportunity to tell you all about them. Today, we are going to talk about Alaska, the Yukon, and the Inside Passage, which Rhonda is going in June of this year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we are super excited to talk about that today. If you haven't been here with us before, Rhonda is just going to go over the itinerary that she has worked hard on. And if there's any questions, we definitely encourage them throughout this time. We can see them. We'd love for this to be an interaction. So if questions pop up, or if you've been there before and you say, oh yeah, that's really cool, or you need to check that out, we'd love to hear that as well. So please join us as we talk about Alaska here. And I am just going to do one final plug about Alaska. Rhonda knows Alaska. This is her place, and this is not a itinerary. This is the itinerary. So definitely listen up if Alaska is a trip that you've been wanting to take. This one's it. So, all right, Rhonda, all yours.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, I've been fortunate enough to be a guide on a couple of our group tours to Alaska in the last few years, and it is a fabulous destination. I had a tour guide in the business for several years that guided tours to Alaska. Over 25 times she had experienced Alaska on different itineraries. And she retired a few years ago. And when she retired, I asked her what would be the favorite itinerary if only a traveler could go and experience Alaska one time. And she chose this Alaska, Yukon, and Inside Passage itinerary because you get to see and spend the most time on land and experience the 4-day cruise. So I followed her suggestion and have been doing these groups every summer since she retired and have stayed with this same itinerary. We've had wonderful comments from people. And this year, our dates are June 8th to the 19th. It's a 12-day tour. And what we'll do is we will depart by motor coach out of our different pickup points within the state and then take you up to Minneapolis. And we have nonstop flights to Anchorage, or a nonstop flight to Anchorage for everyone in the group. And we spend the night in Anchorage that first night. We have a meeting once we get up there with our tour guide from Holland America. That's the vendor that we go with on these, and get to know him or her that evening. They fill us in on a lot of information. The next morning, we are up bright and early, and we transfer over for our McKinley Explorer Rail up to Denali area. That rail experience, it's the domed rail cars. It's fabulous. It's very scenic. It's like a 7-hour journey, but the time flies. There's a rail guide in every train car, and they are telling you all about what the areas that we're passing through and the views, and people are taking videos and pictures, and they even let you go out on the platform between the rail cars, um, and take your pictures, and they slow down. Sometimes we had to pull over off on a separate track to let another train go by, and it's very scenic, very, very pretty.
If I can interrupt you, Rhonda,
Yes.
those are some of my most favorite pictures to get
Oh.
back from the guides to post on Facebook, because yeah, even the train itself, like I just love the dome, open
Mhm.
top, and the views. You can even see them from the pictures that they send back.
Yes.
So cool.
Yeah, it is. And the upper level is where everybody is seated in where those domed windows are. And then you actually can have breakfast and lunch on the train. And the dining is in the lower level of the same rail car that you're in. And you can just go to the lower level then, and you still have beautiful, huge windows down there, um, and can watch as you're enjoying breakfast or lunch. And so, yeah, it is quite fun. And then once we get into Denali, we'll have a 2-night stay there at the McKinley Chalets. This resort is awesome. Um, it's very rustic. They have a lot of entertainment there. They have restaurants. Very, very neat. And right across the way, there's also some shops and things. They have a little tram to take you around. They even have little fire pit areas in the evening if you want to sit around with some of the people that you're traveling with and just enjoy. And they have outdoor, with these fire pits, a little outdoor entertainment area with music or a comedian. So it's very neat. And in June, I want to quick mention, in June, it's summer solstice up there. So it is light way into the evening and late night hours. Even 1 a.m., you're still kind of looking out going, oh gosh, it's still light out, but I better get to bed, you know?
Isn't that kind of wild
Um,
to experience?
yeah, it is.
Mhm.
But all of the hotels up there, I can reassure you, they have the room darkening shades. So when you're ready to pull the shade, it's dark and, you know, seems like bedtime, I guess, even though it's light out. So, um, while we're in Denali, then we get to go on a tundra wilderness tour, which is like 92 miles back into the national park area there. And we do switch from our luxury motor coach that we'll have for the rest of the tour onto a school bus. That's the only type of transportation back into the national park area, is by these school buses. They have great drivers that tell us all about the wildlife that we're going to see. And we go like 92 or 93 miles back into the park area. And they stop periodically. There's different um, areas you can stop and get off, stretch your legs, take pictures. So it's really a neat tour. We got to see a lot of wildlife. They also have the TVs on board the bus so that if the animals are a little further away, they can zoom in and you can see them closer. And we do recommend that if you have a small set of binoculars that you want to take along, this is a great tour to take those with you to see little things more up close. Um, and we'll have some free time in Denali area as well. And I always like to recommend, they have a great visitor center there. It's interactive. Um, there's also a neat dog sledding demonstration area. I can explain all that to you and fill you in on that. There's transportation from the McKinley Chalets to get to both of these places. Um, so we experienced both of those when I went up there, both times. They're a little different each time, like the dog sledding demonstration. So it's not like, you know, they repeat the same thing all the time. And they do have the little puppies
I was
too that
just
you
gonna
can hold. Yes,
Yeah.
they're so cute. Get your picture taken with them, and they want you to be involved too. So on their demonstrations, they'll ask for volunteers, and um, so that's a lot of fun.
Oh.
And then from Denali, when we leave that area, we're going to go up to Fairbanks. And in Fairbanks, we get to go to one of the gold dredges and pan for gold. Um, they have a little train ride that takes us out to the gold dredge, and you hear all about how they panned for gold way back when, you know. Um, you do get a little bag to put into your pan to swirl and get your gold. Everybody's guaranteed to get gold.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a plus. And I tell you, there's a knack to swirling that and panning and getting all that gold out of there. So, um, yeah, it's fun. And then while we're in Fairbanks, we like to go to a salmon bake and it's called a Golden Heart Review Show, put on by the locals up there. And the food is phenomenal. There's several different food stations. It's an outdoor type um, area that there's little food huts, I guess, that you can go through, and kind of like a buffet, but yet they're separate, not all one big line, I should say,
Mhm.
which probably is good with, a little bit of social distancing nowadays. So, um, and then you can eat outdoors or indoors, and then afterwards go into the theater for the show for the evening. And that's a fun time. Then when we get ready to leave Fairbanks, we actually fly over to Dawson City in the Yukon Territory. Um, it's just a short 1 hour flight. Uh, it's a lot easier. They used to years ago actually motor coach, and it was a long, long day on the motor coach. So the flight's a lot easier. We do have to go through a little customs check upon arrival, and you do land kind of on a dirt runway. Um, you go through just a little customs building. So it's it's wilderness out there, right? It's all part of the trip and the experience.
Yeah, right. The experience.
But over in Dawson City, we get to spend 2 nights there. And Dawson City is a very fun, unique town. It's the wooden boardwalks, the dirt roads, the saloons, the general store, um, all those fun things. Um, and the locals around there have like little flea markets and stuff like that, and they know when these tour groups are coming in, so they make it worthwhile. There's lots to see and do while we're there. And then we get to one of those days, we get to board the Klondike Spirit, which is one of those stern wheeler paddle boats, and cruise up and down the Yukon River. And that's very beautiful. There's a couple of areas that they stop and really tell you all about. There's one area you can get off um, and wander around a little village, and they have narration with that, so you know what's going on and what happened there back in the days. Um, and then when we leave Dawson City, we head over to by motor coach over to Whitehorse. Um, in that area, we get to take the White Pass and Yukon Rail, which is the old time like steam engine rail experience. You go through tunnels. Um, One time when we were up there, there was a bear and her baby bear cub right off side of the train tracks at one point in the journey, and the they slowed down, and the rail guides were telling us, quick, look out this side, so everybody was trying to get pictures. And you just never know what you're going to see with that wildlife up there. We had a moose cross the road in front of our motor coach one time, so they slow down, and those drivers, they are aware and always have their eyes open, for any type of experiences. We even saw a porcupine crossing a bridge. So you don't know. So, and then when we leave Whitehorse, that's when we board the ship for the 4-day cruise, and it is on the Koenigsdam. Um, We will get to sail into Glacier Bay, which is the more prominent area for glaciers with the larger glaciers in Alaska right now. And those glaciers are beautiful. They've got that blue color to them. Um, they bring on a DNR specialist to talk about the glaciers in detail. You can go out on the big open bow of the cruise ship and with your bundled up with your coat on, and they give you hot chocolate if you want, and or hot tea, and um, you can go out there and listen to the DNR talk about these glaciers. It amazes me how tall they are and how far they go into the water and how deep they are inland. Um, and they will also tell you that you need to stand outside just for even 10 minutes to hear the glaciers calve. And what they mean by calve is chunks of the glaciers will, or the ice will break and fall off into the water. And it's a different sound. It almost sounds to me like distant thunder. But it's very cool to hear that and see the actual splash, into the water. So, but you do have to keep in mind that it is cooler, and then you're cruising into these ice areas. So, but on the ship, they also have large viewing areas indoors with windows that are, from ceiling to floor so that you can stay warm and be inside and still see the beauty. And we spend a full day. Once they cruise into Glacier Bay, they do a complete 360 turn very slowly. Um, so the entire day is spent in there. And there's still activities and things going on board on the ship for you to do. The one port stop that we have on the cruise is Ketchikan, and it is a neat Alaskan port city or port town, like a little village. Um, One thing we noticed when we pulled in there was a lot of people wear rubber boots that live there. And they told us on board that it rains 360 days out of the year in Ketchikan. It may only be a mist or it may be a heavier rain, but those rubber boots that the locals wear are actually they consider them their tennis shoes.
Oh, wow.
Because it's generally wet there, so the rubber boots are their tennies. So a fun little local thing to know, I guess. But there's a nice village area with shops and restaurants or snack places there. You can do different excursions if you'd like to. There's like a lumberjack show, which was very popular and real fun to watch. We did, one of the times we were there, we did a Mystic Fjord float plane tour because float planes are very big in Alaska. And that was really fun. There was 7 of us on board the float plane. The pilot we had, he had been flying for 29 years, he told us. And so he would fly in between these fjords and you could see the beautiful water below and he said, okay, we're going to land. And he landed and the water was just smooth as glass. We landed. He said, okay, everybody out. And I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? He goes, everybody out. We're going to get out and stand on the float and take a picture. And I'm thinking, ooh, there's like 7 of us. And we had to be weighed to get on the float plane to see where we were seated. And I'm thinking, okay, you want to balance for the flight, but we land in the water and then you tell us to get out. And we're all going to be on the same float on the same one side of the plane. I'm thinking we're just going to go whoop and we're going to all end up in the water. And he's like, trust me, I've been doing this for 29 years. We'll be fine. I'm like, okay, I can't swim. So anyway, we all got out. We got our picture taken and got back in. And then he took off and that landing and takeoff. And it was just amazing. Very, very beautiful.
Now I feel like you're going to have to try and find that picture.
I know. I should, because I've got a couple albums on Alaska, so I'll find that and get that to you.
That's fun.
Yeah, but and then when we leave the port of Ketchikan after we've spent the day there, then we get to cruise in the Inside Passage for a day. And what we really enjoyed there was all the whales and dolphins that we could see out in the waters. And some of the dolphins would even ride in the wake, the small wake of the ship. The Inside Passage is calmer waters, so is the Glacier Bay area. So if you haven't cruised before and you're worried about movement, this cruise being 4 days, it's in such a protected area. It's fairly smooth sailing, really. And the entertainment that you get to see on board the ship is fun, and it's something different every night, and different activities throughout the day too. So, um, and then when the cruise is done, we actually end in Vancouver, and then get transferred to the airport and fly back to Minneapolis, direct or nonstop, and then we motor coach you back to the pickup point that we picked you up at. So, with all that said, I want to just mention that you will have a Northland rep with you on this tour. Suzanne Sawyer is the one that will be going this year in June. Um, you will also have a Holland America rep and guide that'll be with you throughout the entire land portion of the trip for those 8 days. That rep will take you right up to the cruise dock, to the gangway where you get on board the cruise. So you're in good hands the entire time. You do need a passport for this trip because of the time that we enter into the Yukon territory of Canada and with our flight being out of Vancouver back to the US.
We were just talking the other day. That takes a little bit of time, right? So plan ahead for that.
Yeah,
And that's not
yeah,
anything abnormal, but a little bit more,
right.
to know.
Yeah, the customs checks and things at the Vancouver airport, they're very thorough. It takes a little while to get the group through there. That's why we can't have any flights before noon, because we may get off the ship at 7 in the morning, but it might take us till, you know, a good 2 hours to get through that airport. So, but it's nice to have the group leader with you, taking you through that as well. So, and I know you've probably heard about some of the restrictions with Canada right now. We're we know the Alaska season last summer was suspended, and we're hoping we can go full force with everything, this summer up there. But we still stay in touch with our reps, our vendors, and all that. But we're thinking positive. We know a lot of people are ready to get out there and go somewhere, and are feeling more comfortable with vaccinations being available, or starting at least. So we want to open this up to you. We have in my group space, I still have one inside cabin left on the cruise. I have 4 ocean views and 3 balconies. Um, and I will have that inventory until the end of February. And then it'll be released and open into their live inventory where other people can sell into it. So if you're interested in the tour to go this year, get a hold of me as soon as you can. Um, I wouldn't want that space to fill up and get away from us, or be released and you couldn't get on. And we are, as a special, opening up that early booking discount of 150 off per person if you contact me by February 10th. So that will be a little savings or money you can put towards spending money on the trip. So, as a special gift to you when you go on our Alaska trips with Northland, we get we provide you a jacket because the weather in Alaska can be variable. Some days, it might be 50. In Fairbanks, it might be 70. Then the cruise, when you're in the glaciers and the icy area, it's, 40 or 30. So we provide you it's a weather resistant type jacket with a hood. So you don't have to worry about an umbrella when you're in Ketchikan if it's kind of misty out. Um, it's a lightweight, windproof type hooded jacket. Um, and it has the Alaska flag on the back and the Northland logo on the front, just kind of a blue colored jacket. Then we get the size that you prefer from you when you sign up, and then we let you know that you'll want to dress in layers under that jacket. You might want a hooded sweatshirt or a sweater or, even a t-shirt and then a sweatshirt and then the jacket, so you can layer things. Um, you also will probably want some thin gloves to wear, especially if you want to go out and experience the calving of the glaciers that day on the cruise ship. Um, and this jacket, of course, has pockets. You could just slip those in and leave them in there the whole time. And if you need them, pull them out. Um, so it's a great destination, Alaska. Like I say, I'm fortunate enough to have been there a couple times with the groups, and I have a lot of tips and tidbits from things that we experienced on tour. Also follow up with the other guides, Northland guides that go every year, and our rep from Holland America. She's fabulous. So anything new that's coming up, she always lets us know. So I probably rattled on enough, but
Oh, it's awesome.
I invite anybody to give me a call and talk Alaska. Make sure you have a good 15 minutes or so to talk to me, because once I start, I probably will keep going and you might have to cut me off. So, but we'd love to have you join us with one of these tours. If for some reason our date doesn't work for you, I can book you on this same tour on a different date. Um, so if you're comfortable in flying and getting there, not as part of a group, and join the group once you get there, that's always an option. And we do these tours every summer. So if 2021 doesn't work for you, 2022, we will have another group going. So,
Great.
yeah,
Kind of correct me if I'm wrong here, but Alaska is one of your faves, right?
it is. It
Mhm.
really is. I do like the beach destinations myself too, but just going to experience and see all the wildlife and the beauty and it's 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 like another world, but yet close to home,
Mhm.
and you feel comfortable going there and traveling there.
Mhm.
So,
Sure.
yeah.
And just listening to you do this, I think if anyone's just joining us or if they haven't watched from the beginning, I encourage you to go back, watch from the beginning, because listening to you, this right here, I think is why you use a travel agent. Just to hear your experience and, the things that you remember and you look for. I mean, I heard you talk about sights, sounds, knowing what to wear. I mean, these tips are things that you don't have to worry about. When you travel with Northland, especially on a trip where you're so well versed on everything that's happening there. So very cool to hear it, and it makes me
Yeah,
want to go. So
I know. And I also want to quick mention, if you can't join us this summer, if you're thinking about maybe a future year for Alaska, let me know, because we have an Alaska show every fall. And we actually bring on um, a couple tour guides from the area with us online like this,
Mhm.
and they talk about all their experiences and the different itineraries that are available up there. If you don't have the 12 days to go and can just go for a week, you know, we can work it out, for what best would fit your schedule.
Sure.
So,
However, you have seemed to really pinpoint, haven't you, that June seems to be a great time to visit
Yeah.
Alaska.
Yeah, we like June. June, July, and August are the main 3 months. You can go late May and early September. Um, those are the lower seasons, so to speak, because it can be a little rainier and cooler May and September. Um, in June, I'll tell you, you get to see more of the younger wildlife. Um, and the summer solstice, so a lot
Mhm.
more daylight. In August, mid to late August and into September, you can experience northern lights from that area,
Mhm.
and that's beautiful too. I did go one year in August, and I had previously gone another year in June, so I was comparing, I guess, um, and I felt like things were shutting down that mid-August timeframe.
Mhm.
And so I
So
don't know, I
you
just
kind of
picked up
prefer to
on that.
go more during the ramp up of the season
Yeah,
rather than the kind of wind down.
ramp down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I picked up on that on different things. But
Mhm.
July is the peak month with the best weather. However, I'm going to be honest with you, in July they see a lot of these like flies up there. Not that, you know, that would deter you from going in July. You can always have bug spray or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
But um, so yeah, I guess in my preference is June. But
Mhm.
if it works better for somebody in July or August or anytime, we
Mhm.
can get you the same experience, I guess.
Sure. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking here. I think you did so awesome explaining everything and just kind of helping us visualize the trip that, I don't see any questions right now. So, like Rhonda said, we definitely encourage you to call her up and talk Alaska with her. I
Yeah.
know she'd love
Yeah.
it. In the meantime, I know we have another travel talk coming up on the 17th. And then Deb Harkness is going to be back, and she's going to be talking about the Wyoming trip that's going, and also Mississippi Riverboat Cruise, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll be next time at 10 a.m. We thank you for joining us, certainly, and hopefully we have you thinking about Alaska and wanting to join this group. So,
Yes. Yes. Thank you. And if you have questions, please be sure and give me a call.
yeah. All right, everybody have a great day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks.